I really love sharing stories of people, no matter what industry they're in, no matter what genre they're in, no matter what they're doing, that remind us all that we literally can do anything that we put our minds to do.
Yeah.
If we actually are willing to do the work and follow the process and show up. And even when people are doubting you, and I don't care what you're doing, whether you're on Broadway, whether you're working at Disney, whether you're an athlete, I don't care what it is. Everyone has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you've got a dream and you're not following it, that's on you. And I just love these stories of like, okay, hey, I didn't actually get that job, but here's now what I'm going to do. It's such a reminder that success is open and available to everyone, however you define it, however you want to look for it, as long as you're willing to do the work. So this is what I love, Conor. Tell us about the work. Tell us about the steps.
So, I think going back a little bit, this is something that I rarely share, but as I was leaving, I had a couple of interviews with another, I guess we can call them like a Disney news site sort of things. I'm not going to name names, but it was great. The interview process, working with those people, interviewing with them, they were super, super nice. And I got all the way to the final interview. So I had like 3 interviews. It came down to me and apparently one other person. And they went with the other person. So as I'm driving back home, I'm upset because it didn't work out with Disney. It didn't work out with this thing, but I knew, if either of them come calling, I'm going to drop everything and go back to one of those 2 options. So I started working in kind of corporate America, back home in Maryland, doing marketing, and I really loved my job. I did really enjoy it. The people were great. It was good work. It was fun. It was a solid job for sure. But I remember probably a year and a half into it, I kept having that same thought of, hey, when they come knock and when they come reaching out to you with an offer, you're going to go back. And one day I just kind of like looked at myself and I said, they're not going to come just willy nilly. They're not going to just spring up at your door, pop into your email inbox and offer you the opportunity of a lifetime. You have to stop just sitting here and you have to start going out and try to make an opportunity for yourself. So when I knew that, I knew, I want to do something with Disney. I want to share my love of Disney. I don't know how it's going to, blossom out and get to, but I have to do something. And so that's kind of when I started to do my blog and my podcast, which is WDW Opinion. I knew, there was all these places that were sharing up to the minute news and stuff. And I couldn't keep up with that. I remember seeing an article that was like, there's a new Magic Band color. And I'm like, how am I supposed to keep up with the Magic Band color?
Right.
So I knew, hey, what if we phrase it as like, I'm sharing opinions on your next Disney trip. I'm bringing in other people to share their opinions on their Disney trips and things like that. So that's where, working with Disney or Disney as an idea, not as a company, kind of started coming into fruition. It never got to a point where, hey, I can leave my job and do just this. But I knew, at some point I'm going to have to try to make the jump to whatever that might be. So I added some other components to it. Like I became a travel agent. So I helped people plan that and get commissions from Disney. I wanted to start doing more freelance marketing stuff. And in my head, there might have been this kind of number that I wanted to get to before I left my job. But it's interesting because I think before we ever got there, COVID happened. And, a lot of things I think that people can relate to with COVID is we had a lot of time to think. Think about where we are in our lives, where we're living, what we're doing, what makes us happy, what doesn't make us happy. And as we're sitting there, we're starting to think about what we wanted to do as we get out of this thing. at one point, one of my good friends who was living down here in Orlando, who's from here, he was working from home. I was working from home. He goes, dude, I'm going crazy down here. I said, dude, I'm going crazy up here. How about I come down there? We can at least do some more things outside together.
Yeah.
So I moved in with him for a little bit. And I realized, I want to be back down here. Couple of steps in between to get me down here. I was asking to see if my job would let me do that. They eventually said, no, we will not let you do that. So I said, you know what? I think it's time to stop waiting on all these pieces to come together and just make the jump and try to put the pieces as you're in the air together. So that's what I did. I left my job because I just wanted something else. I wanted something different. I think a lot of people often look at this kind of jump and they romanticize it. Like they say, my job before was awful. It was horrific. It was the worst thing ever. I couldn't stand the look of my boss. I know that there are plenty of those instances where it is true, but I also think for other people, it's probably important to hear that your job can be okay. Your job can be pretty good, actually. You can like the people you work with. You can enjoy going to work, but you can also want something else. That's okay. I think a lot of people, think that they have something good and it's so great that they don't need to strive for anything else just because it's different.
They're more concerned with being grateful for what they have.
Yeah. And that was kind of the boat that I was in. Like maybe I should have made that leap a little bit sooner. But you can never second guess yourself. I just knew right now, this is it. And the leap that I made was to leave. And the bigger leap that I made was to move back down here to Florida, not really knowing, what the sole focus was going to be.